The giant space station floated in the darkness like a small moon. Inside, thousands of beings from across the galaxy gathered in the council chambers. Some had scales, others had fur. Some floated in water-filled suits while others breathed methane gas. They all came to see something rare. A new species was joining the Galactic Council for the first time in 200 years. Ambassador Jiho stepped through the entrance doors, and the room fell silent. He was human, from a planet called Earth. His deputy Nari walked beside him, carrying a small data device. They both wore simple blue uniforms with a patch showing their world, a pale blue and green sphere against black space. Jiho looked around the massive chamber. Seats rose in circular rows, reaching up toward the domed ceiling. Thousands of eyes watched them. Some were kind, most were not. He had prepared for this moment for months, but nothing could truly prepare someone for meeting an entire galaxy. A tall being with 4 arms and gray skin stood up. His voice boomed through the chamber. "I am Commander Thexus of the Vorlan Empire. We have reviewed your species. You call yourselves human." He paused, and some creatures in the crowd made sounds that might have been laughter. "You have no energy shields, no plasma weapons. Your ships barely travel faster than light. Tell us, what makes you think you belong here?" Nari's hand moved toward her data device, but Jiho touched her arm gently. He stepped forward and spoke in a calm voice. "Commander Thexus, you are correct. We do not have those things, but we are here to learn and to share what we do have." Another being rose from the seats. This one looked like a massive lizard with red scales and sharp teeth. "I am Warlord Veximus of the Draknor clans. Your species is weak. You should become servants to a stronger empire. That is the way of the galaxy." Murmurs filled the chamber. Many species nodded in agreement. In the council, strength meant everything. Technology meant power. Humans seemed to have neither. Jiho remained calm. His face showed no anger or fear. This confused many watching. Most new species either showed aggression or submission. Humans showed something else, something patient. An ancient being in the center seat raised a crystal hand for silence. This was Elder Morphix, the council leader. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. "There is a way to settle this, the trial of worth. Ambassador Jiho, your species must prove it deserves membership. You may choose the trial type, combat, technology, or problem-solving." The chamber erupted in noise. Every species had opinions. The Vorlan warriors wanted combat. The Nexian scientists suggested technology demonstration. Others called for psychic ability tests. Jiho waited for silence. Then he spoke clearly. "We choose problem-solving." Veximus laughed, a harsh sound that echoed. "Cowards choose thinking over fighting." "Perhaps," Jiho replied. "But my people believe the greatest victories come from smart solutions, not just strong weapons." Nari stepped forward now. She activated her data device, projecting human history into the air. Images showed humans building, creating, and solving problems. "Our species survived ice ages, diseases, and wars. We did not survive because we were the strongest. We survived because we worked together and thought of new ways to live." Commander Thexus leaned forward in his seat. "You survived on your own world. This is the galaxy. Your small planet problems mean nothing here." Elder Morphix's crystal body glowed softly. "The trial is accepted. We will present an impossible scenario. Many species have attempted it. All have failed. You will have 48 hours. If you succeed, humanity earns full membership. If you fail, Earth becomes a protected world under another empire's control." Jiho nodded. "We understand. When do we begin?" "Tomorrow at first light cycle," Elder Morphix replied. "Use this time to prepare. You may bring 4 team members total. Choose wisely." As Jiho and Nari left the chamber, they could hear the species talking. Most were placing bets on how quickly humans would fail. Some were already discussing which empire would claim Earth. Back on their small ship docked at the station, Jiho sat in the command chair. Nari paced back and forth. "They want us to fail," she said. Did you see their faces? They think we are nothing. I saw, Jiho replied. He looked tired but not defeated. Call Captain Do-hyun and Dr. Yuna. We need them for the trial. Nari sent the message. Within an hour, 2 more humans arrived from their exploration vessel. Captain Do-hyun was a broad-shouldered man with gray in his hair. He had commanded ships for 20 years. Dr. Yuna was younger with bright eyes that seemed to see everything. She was Earth's best physicist and engineer. They are testing us, Do-hyun said after hearing the situation. They want to see if we break under pressure. Yuna pulled up data on her tablet. I researched the trial of worth. In the last 500 years, only 3 species passed. 2 through combat, 1 through showing advanced technology. None passed the problem-solving trial. Why? Jiho asked. Because the problem is designed to have no perfect solution, Yuna explained. It tests how a species handles impossible choices. Most species follow logic and calculations. When logic says something cannot be done, they stop trying. Nari smiled slightly. But humans do not stop trying. Exactly, Yuna said. We are not always logical. Sometimes we are stubborn. Sometimes we try things that should not work. And sometimes those things do work. Do-hyun stood and walked to the window. Outside, the massive council station glowed with lights from 1,000 different worlds. My grandfather used to say something. When someone tells you something is impossible, they are really saying they cannot imagine how to do it. But someone else might imagine differently. Jiho stood as well. Then that is our advantage. They will expect us to think like them, to calculate and analyze until we find the logical answer. We need to think like humans. We need to imagine what they cannot. The 4 humans spent the night reviewing everything they knew about the trial. They looked at how other species had failed. They studied alien psychology and decision-making patterns, but mostly they talked about human history. They remembered times when humans had faced impossible situations and survived anyway. As the station's lights dimmed for the sleep cycle, Jiho looked at his team. Whatever happens tomorrow, remember this. We are not here to show them we are stronger or smarter. We are here to show them that humans never give up, even when logic says we should. Nari, Do-hyun, and Yuna nodded. They understood. The trial would begin soon, and the galaxy would be watching. Humanity's future depended on what happened next. But they were ready, not because they had better weapons or technology. They were ready because they had something the galaxy had forgotten. They had hope. The council chamber filled again as the artificial sun rose over the station. Every seat was taken. Some species brought recording devices. Others brought food, expecting to watch for hours. The trial was entertainment for them. A new species would fail, just like the others before. Elder Morphix's crystal body glowed bright. The trial begins now. Listen carefully to the scenario. A massive hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a colony ship, damaged and dark. Around it, space bent and twisted. A black hole pulled the ship slowly toward it. This is the colony ship Refuge, Elder Morphix explained. It carries 50,000 beings from 12 different species. The ship's power core is destroyed. Communications are offline. Life support will fail in 48 hours. The black hole's gravity will consume the ship in 46 hours. You must save them. The hologram zoomed out, showing the distances involved. The numbers appeared in the air. Captain Do-hyun studied them carefully. The colony ship was 7 light hours away. Even at maximum speed, a rescue ship would barely arrive in time. You may use any council resources, Elder Morphix continued. Ships, equipment, personnel, but you must work within known physics. No impossible solutions will be accepted. Jiho looked at his team. They moved to a small table provided for them. Other species leaned forward in their seats, watching every move. Nari pulled up data on her tablet. Every species that tried this before sent fast ships with supplies. They all ran out of time. The mathematics are clear. You cannot carry enough fuel to get there. Slow down and return before the black hole takes the ship. Yuna studied the black hole readings. Her fingers moved across her screen quickly. Wait, everyone else tried to fight the black hole, to pull the ship away from it. That is logical, Do-hyun said. The black hole is the danger. What if we use it instead? Yuna asked. She started drawing on her tablet, projecting calculations into the air above their table. Around the chamber, alien species watched the human calculations. Some made sounds of confusion. The humans were not following any standard rescue protocol. Jiho spoke quietly. Explain your idea, Yuna. The black hole has enormous gravity, she said. If we angle our approach correctly, we can use that gravity to speed up, not slow down, like swinging around it. We get there faster and save fuel. But the colony ship is moving toward the black hole, Nari pointed out. We would be moving even faster toward it. How do we stop? Yuna smiled. We do not stop. We grab the colony ship and swing both ships around the black hole. The gravity becomes our engine. Silence fell over the human table. In the audience, some species started talking to each other. This was not how anyone had approached the problem before. Do-hyun rubbed his chin. That would work for speed. But the colony ship is huge. Our ship cannot tow something that massive. We do not tow it, Yuna replied. We dock with it. Connect directly. Make both ships into one system. The stress would tear our ship apart, Do-hyun said. Yuna nodded slowly. Yes, our ship would be badly damaged, maybe destroyed. But the colony ship would survive. 50,000 beings would live. The human table went quiet. They all understood what Yuna was suggesting. A sacrifice. The rescue ship and crew would be damaged or killed to save the colony. In the audience, Commander Thexus stood up. This is madness. No species sacrifices their own for strangers. Elder Morphix raised a crystal hand. The trial continues. They have not finished. Jiho looked at his team. Is there another way? They worked in silence for an hour. Calculations filled the air around them. The other species grew bored. Some left for food. This was taking too long. Finally, Nari spoke up. I have an idea, but it sounds crazy. Crazy is good right now, Do-hyun said. Nari projected a new image. On Earth, when we climb mountains, we use ropes and anchor points. We secure ourselves at different spots. What if we create anchor points in space? With what? Jiho asked. Debris, Nari replied. Space is full of rocks, old satellites, anything with mass. We position them in a path. We attach cables between them. The rescue ship follows this path using the anchors to control speed and direction. Yuna's eyes went wide. That could work. We build a highway of anchor points. Guide both ships safely around the black hole. How long would that take? Do-hyun asked. They calculated together. Numbers filled the air. Minutes passed. Then Nari looked up. 31 hours. If everything works perfectly, Jiho stood. Then we combine both plans. We use the gravity swing but also build the anchor path. One gives us speed, the other gives us control. What about the people on the colony ship? Do-hyun asked. 48 hours without power or communications. They will panic. Some might die from fear alone. This stopped the team. It was true. Rescue only worked if people survived long enough to be rescued. Yuna thought for a moment. Then she smiled. We broadcast to them. Their communications are broken, Nari said. Not a message, Yuna explained. Music, stories, human culture. We broadcast on every frequency. Even with broken equipment, something will get through. We tell them they are not forgotten. We give them hope. Jiho nodded slowly. We show them someone is coming. That is very human. They worked for another hour, refining the plan. Then Jiho stood and walked to the center of the chamber. Elder Morphix's crystal body pulsed. You have a solution? Yes, Jiho said. We will complete the rescue in 31 hours. The chamber erupted in noise. Impossible, many species shouted. The fastest previous attempt took 40 hours and still failed. Jiho explained the plan calmly. The gravity slingshot, the anchor point path, the cultural broadcast. As he spoke, more and more species fell silent. This was unlike anything they had heard before. When Jiho finished, Warlord Veximus stood. This plan requires your rescue ship to take critical damage. Your crew would likely die. Why would anyone accept this? Jiho looked at the Warlord directly. Because 50,000 beings would live. Is that not enough reason? Veximus sat down slowly. He had no answer for this. Commander Thexis spoke next. The anchor point system. That is not in any engineering database. How do you know it will work? We do not know for certain, Do-hyun replied. But on Earth, we use similar systems in mountains and oceans in rescue operations. The principle is sound. You would risk everything on a principle? Thexis asked. Yes. All four humans said together. Elder Morphix was quiet for a long time. Then the ancient being spoke. We will run your solution through the simulation. The galaxy will see if humans can achieve the impossible. The hologram changed. It showed the human plan in action. The rescue ship accelerated toward the black hole. Anchor points appeared in space, creating a glowing path. The ship swung around the black hole's edge, grabbing the colony ship at the last moment. The simulation ran for what felt like hours, but was only minutes. Numbers scrolled past, showing stress levels, fuel consumption, timing sequences. The audience watched in complete silence. Then something unexpected happened. The simulation flickered. Error messages appeared. The hologram froze. Elder Morphix's voice showed surprise for the first time. The simulation has encountered an unknown solution path. This has never happened before. A Nexian technician spoke from the back. The human solution uses methods not programmed into our simulation. It does not know how to calculate their anchor point system, and the cultural broadcasting hope itself, has no logical value in our models. The simulation tried to restart. It ran again. This time it completed. The timer showed 31 hours and 12 minutes. The colony ship was saved, but the simulation could not calculate whether the rescue crew survived. Too many variables existed outside its programming. Elder Morphix turned to the humans. You found a solution the simulation was not designed to handle. The question now is this: does creativity count as success, or did you simply break our test? Jiho smiled. Perhaps your test was designed by beings who only think one way. Humans think many ways. That is our strength. The council chamber exploded in argument. Some called it cheating. Others called it brilliance. The galaxy was divided, and the humans stood quietly waiting for judgment. The council argued for hours. Some species insisted the humans passed the trial. Others claimed they cheated by breaking the simulation. Elder Morphix listened to everyone but made no decision. The ancient being seemed troubled by something deeper than the test results. Finally, Morphix spoke. We will discuss this further tomorrow. The council is dismissed for rest cycle. As beings filed out of the chamber, alarm sirens suddenly screamed through the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. The peaceful station transformed into chaos in seconds. A Nexian security officer's voice boomed over speakers. Emergency in Outer Rim, sections 40 through 52. Quellar Hive detected. All personnel evacuate immediately. Sealing protocols initiated. Jiho grabbed Nari's arm. What is Quellar Hive? A passing alien with blue skin turned to them, fear in its 3 eyes. Parasites. They infect other beings, take control of their bodies. We thought they were extinct. The alien ran toward the escape shuttles. Through the windows, they could see the outer sections of the station. Lights flickered and died. Shapes moved in the darkness. Not walking, but crawling and climbing like insects. Elder Morphix's voice carried authority even in crisis. All council members to the central safe zone. Forland military will handle containment. Commander Thexis appeared on a large screen already in combat armor. Standard protocol for hive infection. We seal the outer rim. No one gets in or out. Then we vent those sections to space. Everything dies. Clean and efficient. Jiho felt his blood run cold. How many beings are trapped in those sections? A Nexian technician checked his console. Approximately 4,000, representing 23 species. But they may already be infected. We cannot risk it. You will kill 4,000 people? Nari asked, her voice rising. They are already dead, Thexis replied. We saved the station by sacrificing the few. This is how the galaxy survives. Jiho looked at his team. Do-hyun was already moving toward their ship. Yuna pulled up station schematics on her tablet. They did not need words. They all knew what they had to do. We are going in there, Jiho announced. The council chamber fell silent. Elder Morphix's crystal body dimmed. That is forbidden. You will become infected. You will bring the hive here. Or we will save those people, Jiho said firmly. Humans do not abandon others to die when there is any chance of rescue. Thexis's face filled the screen. This is foolish. You have no weapons that can fight the hive. Your small ship is not equipped for combat. You will die, Dohyun spoke up. We do not need special weapons. We have tools. And we have something you seem to lack. We have courage to try. Before anyone could stop them, the 4 humans ran to their ship. Alarms were still blaring. Station security tried to activate docking clamps, but Yuna had already overridden them from her tablet. The human ship detached and flew toward the infected sections. Inside their ship, they prepared quickly. Dohyun took the pilot seat. Nari accessed security feeds from the infected area. What she saw made her stomach turn. Beings stumbled through corridors, their movements jerky and wrong. Dark shapes clung to walls and ceilings. The hive. Yuna, what do we know about these parasites? Jiho asked. Yuna typed rapidly, accessing council databases. They spread through physical contact. They control nervous systems, but they are biological. That means they have weaknesses. She read more. Temperature. They cannot handle extreme temperature changes. They evolved on a world with stable climate. Our ship has environmental controls, Dohyun said. We can heat sections or vent them to cold space. That is our weapon then, Jiho decided. Nari, can you identify where survivors might be? Nari studied the security feeds. Some beings barricaded themselves in storage rooms and medical bays. I count maybe 300 still uninfected. But they are surrounded. The human ship reached the sealed outer rim. Massive metal doors blocked entry. Dohyun brought up weapon systems, but their ship had only basic tools, not military weapons. Use the mining laser, Yuna suggested. It is designed to cut through asteroids. Metal doors should be easier. The laser fired, a bright beam cutting through the emergency seals. On the council feeds, thousands of species watched in shock. The humans were actually going into the infected zone. Their ship pushed through into darkness. Emergency lights flickered red. Bodies floated in zero gravity, some infected, some dead. The hive creatures moved along walls like spiders, each the size of a large dog with too many legs. Dohyun sealed their ship's airlocks. We need suits before we go out there. They put on environmental suits quickly. Yuna modified heating elements in the suits to maximum output. If they touch us, our suits will burn them. Jiho grabbed a welding torch from the ship's tool locker. Nari took a plasma cutter. Dohyun found a heavy wrench. These were not weapons, but they would have to work. They entered the station through the airlock. Immediately, 3 hive creatures launched at them from the ceiling. Jiho swung his welding torch, the flame catching one creature. It shrieked and pulled back. Nari's plasma cutter sliced through another. Dohyun simply swung his wrench with brutal efficiency. They fear the heat, Yuna observed. They retreat from flames. Then we give them heat, Dohyun said. He accessed the station's environmental controls through a wall panel. With a few commands, he started raising the temperature in sections around them. The hive creatures began moving away from the heated zones, but there were too many. For every creature they drove back, 2 more appeared. Nari had an idea. The venting system. We can open sections to space, flash freeze the hive, then seal it again. Rapid temperature change. That will kill anyone not in a protected area, Jiho said. We evacuate them first, Nari replied. Small groups. We clear one section, get survivors out, then freeze that section. Move to the next. It was dangerous and exhausting, but it was a plan. They worked their way through the outer rim methodically. Find survivors, fight through hive creatures, get people to safe areas, then use temperature to kill the hive in cleared sections. A young alien engineer was trapped in a maintenance shaft. Jiho found him through a partially open door. The boy was maybe 20 in his species years. His name was Hyun-woo, and he was human-trained, part of an exchange program with Earth. I can help, Hyun-woo said, his voice shaking. I know these systems. Stay behind us, Do-hyun ordered. But Hyun-woo proved useful. He knew shortcuts through the maintenance tunnels. He could access locked doors. He helped them save 30 more beings who would have been left behind. Hours passed. The human team was exhausted. Their suits were damaged. They all had injuries. But they kept moving. Each section they cleared meant more survivors. Dr. Yuna made a discovery in the medical bay. She found equipment that produced ultrasonic frequencies. Bats on Earth use sound to navigate, she explained while working rapidly. If the hive has similar nervous systems, sound might disrupt their coordination. She built a makeshift sonic weapon from 3 medical scanners and a power cell. When she activated it, nearby hive creatures writhed in pain. They scattered, unable to maintain control of their host bodies. "This works," she shouted. "We can drive them all to one section and then seal it." The plan came together. Using heat, cold, and sound, the humans herded the hive creatures like animals. They drove them all toward Section 52, the furthest section from the main station. Survivors were evacuated ahead of them. Finally, all the hive was in Section 52. Do-hyun stood at the control panel, his hand over the emergency vent button. "Once I press this, that section opens to space. Everything inside dies instantly." "Do it," Jiho said. The section exploded outward. Air rushed into space, carrying the hive creatures with it. They froze instantly in the cold void. Back on the council feeds, silence filled the chambers. The humans had done it. They saved most of the trapped beings. Numbers showed on screens. 4,000 were trapped. 3,487 were saved. Only 513 lost. Most already dead before the humans arrived. Only 3 humans died, recorded the database. But then it corrected itself. Hyunwoo, the young engineer, stayed behind in Section 51 to manually operate damaged airlocks so others could escape. The section sealed with him inside before he could get out. The human team returned to their ship, silent and grieving. They had saved thousands but lost one of their own. As they flew back toward the main station, they did not feel victorious. They felt the weight of every life they could not save. The council chamber was different when the humans returned. Species that had mocked them before now stood in silence. Some looked at the floor. Others stared at the humans with something new in their eyes. Respect, perhaps, or fear. Elder Morphix's crystal body glowed softly. "You disobeyed direct orders. You risked contaminating the entire station. By all protocols, you should be expelled and arrested." Jiho stood straight despite his exhaustion. His suit was torn and burned. Blood from a cut on his forehead had dried on his face. "We understand. We would do it again." The chamber erupted. Some species shouted for punishment. Others demanded the humans be honored. The noise grew until a single voice cut through everything. Silence. Commander Thexus of the Vorlan Empire stood. His forearms crossed over his chest in a formal position. The entire chamber quieted. Thexus was one of the most respected warriors in the galaxy. When he spoke, others listened. Thexus walked down from his seat. He approached Captain Do-hyun. The Vorlan commander was massive, twice the size of any human. He stopped directly in front of Do-hyun. Then Commander Thexus did something shocking. He placed all 4 hands over his chest and bowed his head. The Vorlan salute of highest honor, reserved only for the greatest warriors. "In 4,000 years of Vorlan military history," Thexus said, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, "we have won countless battles. We have conquered worlds. We pride ourselves on strength and courage." He paused. "Today I witnessed something my people forgot long ago. True courage is not fighting for victory. True courage is fighting for others, knowing you might lose everything." Thexus straightened. "Captain Do-hyun, Ambassador Jiho, I was wrong about humanity. You do not have our weapons. You do not have our ships. But you have something far more valuable. You have hearts that refuse to abandon hope even in darkness." The chamber was completely silent now. Thexus returned to his seat. Then he spoke again. "I vote for full council membership for humanity, immediately." Other species began standing. One by one they voted. The Nexians, known for cold logic, voted yes. The Kilari, a peaceful species, voted yes with tears in their eyes. Even some of the aggressive species voted to accept humanity. Warlord Veximus was one of the last to stand. The Draknor warrior looked at the humans for a long moment. "I said you were weak. I was a fool. Strength is not just in weapons. I vote yes." Elder Morphix counted the votes. By unanimous decision, Humanity is granted full membership in the Galactic Council. The ancient being paused. But I sense this is only the beginning of something larger. The galaxy is about to change. As the official ceremonies began, a Nexian scientist named Talia approached Nari. I must ask, how did you think of using temperature fluctuations against the hive? It is not in any military database. No species has fought them that way before. Nari smiled tiredly. On Earth we have many environments. Hot deserts, frozen poles, everything between. Humans learn to adapt to all of them. We think about temperature differently than species from stable worlds. It is just how we see problems. Talia processed this. You solved a crisis using knowledge from your own survival history. Your planet taught you. Every human knows hot and cold, Nari said simply. We all learned it as children. That knowledge saved lives today. Across the chamber, a Quillari poet was speaking with Dr. Yuna. The sonic weapon you created, how did you know it would work? Yuna explained about Earth's bats, about dolphins and whales using sound. The Quillari's eyes widened. You have multiple species on your world that use sound this way, and you studied them? Of course, Yuna said. We study everything on Earth. Animals, plants, weather, everything. All knowledge is useful eventually. The poet was quiet for a moment. We have knowledge databases too. But they are organized by category. Military knowledge here, science there, culture separate from both. You seem to mix everything together. Because everything connects, Yuna replied. A bat's echolocation today saves lives tomorrow. A mountain climbing technique becomes a space rescue method. We do not separate knowledge into boxes. These conversations were happening all over the chamber. Aliens asking humans questions, trying to understand what made them different. The answers they got surprised everyone. Commander Thexus gathered his military officers. Study what the humans did today. Not their tools, but their thinking. They used mining lasers as weapons. They used temperature as a weapon. They used sound as a weapon. They saw weapons where we saw only tools. Is that not just desperation? One officer asked. No, Thexus replied. It is creativity. There is a difference. Desperation makes poor choices. Creativity makes new choices. The humans were creative. Celebrations began on the station. Survivors from the outer rim wanted to thank the humans personally. Hundreds of beings lined up. To meet Jiho, Nari, Doyun, and Yuna, they brought gifts and offered words in dozens of languages. The humans accepted everything with quiet grace, but their eyes kept looking toward the damaged sections, toward where Hyunwoo died. Then hours into the celebration, alarms rang out again. Not danger alarms, discovery alarms. A search team found something in Section 51. Hyunwoo was alive. The young engineer had sealed himself in a maintenance shaft. With no communication and limited air, he should have died. Instead, he built a makeshift life support system using spare parts, wire, and remarkably, a coffee maker that happened to be in the shaft with him. When they carried him into the medical bay, Hyunwoo was weak but smiling. I remembered what my human instructors taught me, he said softly. When the proper tools are not available, make new tools. When the proper solutions do not exist, create new solutions. Jiho sat beside the young engineer's bed. You risked your life to save others. That was very brave and very human. I am not human, Hyunwoo said. I am Colonian. Today you were human, Jiho replied with a smile. Being human is not about biology. It is about choices. You chose to help others. You chose not to give up. Those are human choices. Word of Hyunwoo's survival spread quickly. His story became legend across the station. A young alien trained by humans, thinking like a human, surviving the impossible. Species that had never considered human methods before started asking questions. Could their people learn this too? Could they think with creativity instead of just logic? The council called an emergency session that evening. Elder Morphix addressed everyone. Today we witnessed something unprecedented. Humanity did not just pass our test. They showed us we had forgotten how to think beyond our programming. The ancient being paused. I proposed something new. A human integration academy, where humans teach other species, not technology. but ways of thinking, creative problem solving, adaptive strategies, survival through hope rather than protocol. The vote was immediate. Every species agreed. The academy would be built on the station itself. Enrollment would be open to any being from any world. Ambassador Jiho stood to speak. We accept this honor. But understand this. We are not teaching humans to be superior. We are teaching that there are always more solutions than the obvious ones. Every species here has knowledge we can learn from. This academy should be a place of exchange, not just human ideas. Elder Morphix's body glowed bright. Wisely spoken. The academy will teach human creativity, but learn from galactic knowledge. Together we may become something greater than separate parts. As the session ended, Nari looked at the data feeds. Applications for the academy were already flooding in. Thousands of beings wanting to learn. The number kept growing. We changed something today, she said to Jiho quietly. The galaxy will not be the same. Jiho nodded. We showed them that impossible is just a word. That hope is a tool as real as any weapon. But Nari, this is just the beginning. They will test us again, in bigger ways, harder ways. Let them test, Nari replied. We are human. We do not give up. We never give up. Outside the windows, the damaged sections of the station were being repaired. Beings from every species worked together, using human creativity and alien technology combined. The galaxy was learning, and humanity was teaching, not through force but through example. Through courage, through hope. 6 months passed like a dream. The Human Integration Academy opened its doors on Council Prime Station. The building stood next to the council chambers, a symbol of the new partnership between humanity and the galaxy. Classes were full from day one, more than full. Beings waited in line, stretching through corridors, hoping for a chance to learn. Dr. Yuna taught physics, but not the way other species taught it. She showed students how to see problems differently, how to find solutions in unexpected places. Her most popular lecture was called, When Logic Fails, Try Imagination. Captain Do-hyun trained military officers from 20 different species. He taught them about asymmetric warfare, about fighting smarter instead of harder. Vorlan warriors, who once thought only of strength, learned about misdirection and creativity in battle. Nari led psychology and cooperation classes. She taught how humans worked in teams, how they communicated in crisis, how they built trust quickly with strangers. Her students were often surprised that these skills mattered as much as weapons or technology. But it was Ambassador Jiho's lectures that drew the biggest crowds. He taught something the galaxy had almost forgotten. He taught culture, stories, art, and music. He taught hope. On this day, Jiho stood before 300 students from across the galaxy. Screens showed his lecture to thousands more watching remotely. He smiled at the diverse faces looking back at him. Today we discuss humanity's greatest weapon, Jiho began. Can anyone guess what it is? A Vorlan officer raised a hand. Your creativity and problem solving. Close but no, Jiho said. A Nexian scientist tried. Your ability to work together under pressure. Also close, Jiho replied. But still not correct. A small Quilari in the back spoke softly. Your stories? Jiho's smile grew wider. Yes, our stories. Let me show you why. He activated a hologram. It showed Earth spinning slowly. Then it showed human history. Ancient humans sitting around fires telling tales, writing on cave walls, creating art and music, building theaters and libraries, making movies and games. Every human grows up with thousands of stories, Jiho explained. Stories of heroes who faced impossible odds. Stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Stories of failure and success, of courage and fear. These stories are not just entertainment. They are training. He changed the hologram to show a human child reading a book. This child reads about a character trapped in a dangerous place. The character finds a creative way to escape. Years later, that child becomes an adult who faces a real crisis, and their brain remembers that story, remembers that creativity saves lives. So they think of creative solutions. A Draknor warrior stood up, confused. But stories are fiction. They are not real. How can fake events train anyone? Because fiction asks the most important question, Jiho replied. What if we tried this? What if we looked from that angle? What if the impossible was actually possible? Every story is a simulation. Every song is a reminder. Every piece of art shows a different way to see the world. He showed them human movies, books, and music. A Vorlan warrior watched a film about a father searching for his son across a war zone. The warrior's eyes filled with tears, something his species rarely showed. "I never thought about why we fight," he whispered. "I only knew that we do." The story shows the why. A Nexian scientist listened to a simple folk song about surviving hard times. The logical being was moved by emotions they did not know they had. "This song has no new information," the Nexian said, confused. "But it makes me feel strong. How?" "Because feelings matter as much as facts," Jiho explained. "Hope is not logical. Love is not logical. Courage is not logical, but they are real, and they give us strength when logic says we should give up." The classes continued every day. Species that never created fiction began writing their own stories. Warriors who only knew war started painting pictures. Scientists who only trusted data began composing music. The galaxy was awakening to something it had lost long ago: imagination. But not everyone was happy with these changes. In the outer regions of space, far from Council control, the Krell Dominion watched and waited. The Krell were an old empire built on conquest and control. They had avoided the Council for centuries, considering it weak. Lord Karnax, leader of the Krell military, studied reports about humanity with cold eyes. These humans corrupt the galaxy with their soft ideas: hope, creativity, cooperation. These are weaknesses disguised as strengths. His second-in-command agreed. "Our spies report that Council species are changing their military tactics. They no longer follow predictable patterns. They improvise like humans do. This makes them harder to defeat." "Then we move now," Karnax decided. "Before the human infection spreads further. We will crush the Council and show the galaxy that strength, real strength, still rules." The Krell Dominion prepared for war. They had superior numbers, better weapons, more advanced ships. Every battle simulation showed them winning easily against the Council. Logic said they could not lose. 3 weeks later, the Krell fleet arrived at Council space. 5,000 warships. The largest military force seen in 500 years. They sent a simple message: surrender or die. Elder Morphix called an emergency council session. The chamber filled with frightened species. Everyone had seen the Krell fleet. The numbers were impossible to fight. "Every simulation shows we cannot win," a Nexian strategist reported. "The Krell outnumber us 3-1. Their weapons are more powerful. Their shields are stronger. Logic says we have 1 year before complete defeat. Maybe less." Panic spread through the chamber. Some species suggested surrender. Others wanted to abandon the Council and flee to distant space. The unity they had built over months seemed ready to shatter in moments. Then Captain Dohyun stood up. He walked to the center of the chamber with a small smile on his face. "I have run the simulations too. I agree with the Nexian analysis. If we fight the Krell using standard tactics, we lose." The chamber grew more frightened, but Dohyun's smile did not fade. "However, we are not going to use standard tactics. We are going to use human tactics." Commander Thexus leaned forward in his seat. "Explain." "The Krell expect us to meet them in open battle," Dohyun said. "Large fleets against large fleets. The strongest weapons win. That is how every galactic war has been fought for thousands of years." He paused. "So we do not give them that battle. We give them something they cannot predict. We give them creativity." Nari stepped forward with data files. "We have studied the Krell for these 3 weeks. They are rigid in their thinking. They follow military doctrine perfectly. They have won every war by being stronger and more organized than their enemies. But they have never faced an enemy that refuses to follow the rules." Dr. Yuna projected new battle plans into the air. They looked nothing like traditional warfare. Instead of neat formations, the plan showed scattered ships. Instead of direct confrontation, they showed hit-and-run attacks. Instead of protecting assets, they showed sacrificing them as decoys. "This is chaos," a Quillari officer protested. "Not strategy." "It looks like chaos," Yuna agreed. "But it is controlled chaos. Every species here has learned from the Human Academy. You know how to improvise, how to adapt, how to think creatively. The Krell know how to follow plans. We know how to break plans. That is our advantage." Ambassador Jiho spoke last. "My friends, I know you are afraid. Fear is logical when facing a stronger enemy. But humans have a saying. It is a story we tell our children. It is called David and Goliath." He told them the ancient story. A small shepherd boy against a giant warrior. Everyone expected the giant to win. But the boy used a sling. A simple weapon the giant did not expect. The boy won because he did not fight the way the giant expected. "We are David," Jiho said. "The Krell are Goliath. They are bigger and stronger. But we have something they do not. We have hope. We have creativity. We have the knowledge that impossible is just another word for no one has tried the right way yet." The chamber was silent. Then Commander Thexus stood. His voice boomed. "I have fought for 4,000 years. I have seen every kind of battle. Today I will learn a new kind. I volunteered to lead the first strike force." Other commanders stood. Scientists volunteered to create new weapons from old tools. Engineers offered to modify ships in ways that broke every design rule. The fear in the chamber transformed into something else. Determination, hope, the human spirit spreading through the galaxy. Over the next weeks, they prepared. Not for the war the Krell expected, but for the war humans would fight. And when the Krell fleet finally attacked, expecting easy victory, they found something they could not understand. An enemy that did not follow any rules. An enemy that turned every battle into something new and unexpected. An enemy that believed impossible was just a challenge, not a limitation. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had shown them the truth. Power was not just in weapons or strength. Real power was in the belief that there was always another way. Always another chance. Always another story waiting to be written. And this story, the story of humanity and the galaxy united, was just beginning.